Hey guys, I'm Dani Goldsmith and this project is Homage. I call it that because I wanted to pay homage to the giants whose shoulders we stand on. There have been so many great coin magicians that I've just greatly benefited from learning their material. Everyone from Curtis Cam to Kainoa Harbottle, Michael Rubenstein, David Roth, Jeff Latta, Tony Poli. I feel like I could go on forever. David Williamson, Eric Jones. So there's so many to name, but I wanted to talk about the importance of really valuing what's been laid before us and how we can take a lot of those principles and deepen them, or taking them even further, accomplish more with them, try new things with them, take a new approach to old ways of doing things. And this project has a lot of that. I've taken a lot of ideas that I've really much loved from so many great coin magicians, have adapted them, added things to them, used them to build the routines I'm about to show you. So I hope you enjoy these routines, and please check out the work of these guys. If you don't know them already, please study the classics. Please study these guys who have laid down the foundation for us, because they have honestly done the work for us. They are the giants whose shoulders we stand on, so we can reach even higher and create some really great magic. So I pay my respects to all of you. Thank you so much for everything you have taught and everything I have benefited from. I really appreciate every single one of you, and I appreciate you guys for purchasing this project. I really hope you enjoy this work. So the retention looks like so. So this first move is a retention of mine called the CB retention, which stands for the counterbalance retention. This is due to a swinging action that you'll see in a bit. This is inspired by the Roth retention and a retention that was in David Williamson's Williamson Wonders, where the retention comes all the way into Down's palm. Whoops, Down's palm. So let's start about the starting position of this retention. Now if the hand is in this position, which is a very relaxed position, we have the first finger and thumb holding the coin, the middle finger is curled in slightly more, ring finger more, pinky a little bit more. There's this nice gentle slope, which really makes the hand look relaxed. So there's a slight gap between the middle finger and the coin here. The coin is held between the first finger and thumb by its extreme edge. This means your first finger and thumb are together, and you could actually just stick that in there, just kind of wedges in there. The first finger is coming straight across the center of the coin. It's pointing straight across the center of the coin. We're not up here like this, and we're not down here like this. It is straight across. We're directly on the side, pointing across the coin. What's going to happen is the middle finger is going to reach out and pull this coin in. But we want the hand to look to be in the same position before the retention and after the retention. So to do this, we have to be able to extend the middle finger without reaching too far. If you reach too far, that first knuckle has to bend in to pull the coin in closer to the middle finger. And it pops up like this. This is a very obvious tell. This is one you can see David Roth do in pretty much any New York coin magic seminar, anywhere where he does the retention of vision. He gets a fantastic burn, but you always see that knuckle pop. Some would argue that that doesn't matter. If you're watching the flash of the coin, that's where your eyes go. You don't necessarily notice the movements as much, but I find it still looks even more natural if you can minimize all of these movements. So the middle finger is only going to reach to here. If the middle finger just straightens, which means the first knuckle doesn't bend at all, we just need to contact this much of the coin. Now this first part of this move is actually kind of tricky. A lot of people, when they go to reach with the middle finger, the ring finger and pinky want to go with it. We want to practice not letting those fingers move. Just reaching forward, touching the coin, not letting these fingers move. But the middle finger is going to contact the coin, and because the first finger and thumb are holding it so loosely, the middle finger can literally just pull that coin out of its grip without the first finger or thumb having to do anything at all. They do not need to move. The impulse is for the thumb to slide out of the way. The other impulse is for the thumb to bend in. We don't want to let those things happen. The thumb stays straight, middle finger reaches out just enough to contact the coin, just to get straight, and it pulls in. Now you only want to pull in as far as the middle finger was before the move, so that the hand looks the same exactly before the move as it does after the move. If you do this, you'll find that the coin is about here. We want it all the way into here, which comes into the next part of this move, and why it's called the counterbalance retention, is that because we're holding this by its extreme edge, and we have the thumb on the edge of that coin, and the middle finger contacts here and pulls it under, they're not holding the coin in the same spots. There's the pressure of the middle finger, which is directly under this point, and then the thumb is on the edge. This allows for that coin to swing, pivot around that point. Now I'm pulling the pointer finger out of the way here so you can see what happens and how it pivots. But the thumb is not doing any of the work here. Just the middle finger is doing the work. The thumb stays up against the first finger, the middle finger pulls in, and the coin pivots around to land in this clipped position where it's in between the first finger and the middle finger, with the middle finger curled in just a little bit. So it's like so. That's the first step of this retention. The receiving hand here, because the only motion is about from here on the middle finger to about here where my thumb is, it's only perceptible motion because everything else we're keeping still, we can cover this little gap with the ring finger. So the tip of the ring finger is going to touch this knuckle of the middle finger here, very lightly. We're not going to press up against it. We don't want them isolated together and moving together. That feels unnatural. They should be independent of each other. But it's going to lightly graze that finger, and this gives us all the cover we need. So now my middle finger is extending forward and back, but you can barely see that. Or maybe even not at all. So the ring finger gets here. We're going to get that flash of the coin between the fingers here. And we'll talk about the flash in a little more detail after we get through the mechanics. We get the flash, and as these fingers are, before they start to close actually, the middle finger is going to reach out, grab the coin, get the flash, and we do the move as the hand comes away. Now when we do this move, we want our hands to swing in, swing out. This is a natural way to hand a coin from one hand to the other. The hands swing in, swing out. If you watch anyone hand an object from one hand to the other, they're there for half a second. Doing a retention like this is unnatural. It does not make sense to do something like this. There's too much time in which you're handing the coin from one hand to the other. It's also unnatural in that this hand's being treated like the receiver and this one the giver. You're treating your body like it's two separate entities. Rather, it's one entity, and the hands should move together. Now, there's situations where naturalness can be applied to something like this. You could be talking about strength and breaking down the coin, and this is a solid coin. It's solid metal. Like, you couldn't crush this with my bare hands. I mean, I'm not right-handed, but even if I were to really try, I couldn't possibly crush this. Right? So I give it motivation for why I'm passing the coin over and saying that, I'm not right-handed. And this is a gesture that is very much this kind of gripping gesture. So we can give naturalness to this. But in general, this is not a very natural way to do a retention. But as magicians, this is how we tend to do retentions for each other. So I wanted it to be more like this, where the hands are pointing in. It's a lot more natural. The hands swing in. The move occurs. The hands swing apart. So let's talk about getting the coin to get that nice shine. Let's talk about why that retention works. How do you get retention of vision? What is happening here? So this is actually a really, really fun piece of science. So when light changes suddenly in your environment, your brain freezes that image in your frontal lobe. And the reason it does this is because it has to adjust your pupils to the changing light. If you walk into a really bright environment, like if you live somewhere where there's a lot of snow and all of a sudden it's really bright, if your pupils were to stay dilated, you wouldn't be able to see very well. You'd have too much light coming in and you'd be blurry. So the brain has to make adjustments and shrink the pupil down. This is why when we see a flash, the brain goes, oh, holds that image and goes, let's adjust the pupils. So it burns that image in the mind, holds it there so they can adjust the pupils to the changing light in the environment. This allows the spectator to see the light in the hand for about half a second, but light travels about 1,828,000 miles per second. So it is there and gone in 0.0000000. I could probably keep adding zeros until you fall asleep, but it's a very, very tiny amount of time that it's actually there. Yet because it's perceptible for about half a second, this is our window into an amazing retention. We can use that half a second to get the hand out of the way. But because they're still seeing the light there, they can see the light as this hand is coming away. And this can give this illusion that they're seeing the coin in the hand even as the hand is coming away. So let's talk about a little bit into more detail, how do we accomplish this? So that flicker of light occurs when we turn the coin from vertical to 45. There's almost always a light source above us or in front of us. So if it's slightly above us and in front of us, we have 45, should bounce off and hit their eye, right? So somewhere in this range, we will hit them with light. The other aspect is we want that light to shine between the fingers. So we come in, we shine. Now, depending on where we do this move, for right here when we shine, we want it to be right behind the thumb. We want to make sense that the thumb is closing on that spot. Sometimes I go a little farther in here and then I bring my fingers together, but I'm finding if I do it here where the thumb is actually pressing down, would be pressing down on the coin, this becomes a lot more convincing because everything makes sense. So for here, we're this far into the hand as we do the flash, we have from here to do the move. Because immediately after the flash, we just start moving our hands away. We know that flash is only going to sit there for half a second. Half a second's not very long, and at the same time, it's quite a bit of time, which just means you have to be really quick. So we get the flash. I'm going to close these so you can see where the coin is at within space, but we get the flash, and then we have to start doing the move as this hand comes away. Those two things happen at the same time. We're doing the move as the hand comes away, which means you have to finish the move before we get here. If we are too late, they will see that edge of the coin right as we finish the move coming away. This takes timing and practice. The best way to do this is break it down. Do it really, really slowly. Go here, make sure you're finishing the move before you clear the fingers, and watch your reflection over and over and over again. And then you can slowly pick up speed as you go along. So it's flash, do the move as we're coming away, and then we close the fingers. Closing the fingers is late. We want them to see that light in there as long as possible. So we want to play around with how late can we close the fingers. You know, if you do it too late, you'll flash, right? If you do it too early, you don't get quite the exact same burn. So he's trying to find this right balance where we can let those fingers stay open a bit and let them see the light in between the fingers. This comes about through just practicing in a mirror, doing it over and over and over and over again, and just watching your timing and playing around with the timing. So let's talk about doing this move into Down's palm. So we've done the move, right? We pull in with the middle finger, that middle finger pulling in. When we get good at this move, we do it quite quickly. That pulling in quickly of the middle finger gives the coin momentum to swing in. This also happens because the grip between the middle finger and thumb is loose enough that that coin can be pulled in. If you're clenching too tight, that coin can't swing. So it's got to be loose. Coin pulls into this clip position. From the clip position, if we slide down our middle finger, we get into a deeper clip, and we could curl in to downs. With multiple coins, it's the same move. Middle finger reaches, pulls in. Now first it pulls in to about directly under the thumb. There's a point here where it makes contact with the edge of the coin. And what's going to happen is this bottom coin is underneath the thumb. We pull all the way in till we're lined up perfectly underneath the coin on top. But there's still some gap here by the flesh of the thumb that maintains this gap. Once they're lined up, we're going to lift the coin up so it lands flat with the other. This is a little different than how Kainoa Harbottle teaches it in his routines. I find this to be a bit quieter, so this is the method that I use. He has a more sliding in method that you can look up. I believe it was in Coins on the Edge. So once again, we do the move, do the retention, take the second coin, pull in, or underneath the thumb. We pull this farther edge, the edge closest to the base of the first finger and base of the second finger, comes all the way in. Middle finger pulls back to get that coin underneath this top one. And then the middle finger lifts the coin up, getting it flat with that stack. All of this is happening while the first finger and thumb are still together. Just as before, the retention happens, and the first finger and thumb are still together as the middle finger brings that coin into stack. Hey guys, so I have some really fun coins here. I've got a Chinese coin, well kind of, we'll get to that in a moment. I have a copper coin though with a tiger on it and a monkey on the other, but we'll focus on the tiger. And then there's the silver dollar, which is just American money. This, like I said, it's kind of a Chinese coin. It's not really. There's a Chinese restaurant down the road that I go to, and when you give this to them, you get a free egg roll. So that vanishes, I get my lunch, it's a good deal. The tiger coin, the one with the tiger on it. This coin's a little different. If I want this coin to vanish, I simply say, look, a zebra. And he's gone. He goes to chase this zebra, which technically lives on a different continent. So he swims across the Indian Ocean to get the, anyways, the silver dollar. This is my allowance. Sorry, I'm not vanishing that. That'll go into my pocket. I need to make money, not lose it, which, by the way, I can do. Simple as 1, 2, 3. That is until, well, I spend it. And then, of course, I'm poor. Yeah. So welcome to the instructions on Chinese silver tiger. It's a really silly name for a routine. This whole routine is just absurdly silly. It was meant to just be fun and really playful. It makes for a nice opener because it really establishes that ground of we're here to have fun. I'm not here to make a fool of you and haha, I got you. It's focused on the presentation and having an enjoyable presentation. Something that they can focus on and that the magic empowers and makes the presentation more fun, magical, silly, and not so much intensity on the slides. A lot of times as magicians we perform things and we say, you know, a coin disappears. And we're just narrating. And if we're narrating, then the focus is the routine. It's the, well, not exactly the routine, it's the moves. It's, hey look, I did a move, it disappeared. If the focus are the moves, then the spectator is gonna try to figure out the moves. It's, did it fool me, did it not fool me? That's the presentation. That's not magic, that's a puzzle. These are two very different things. Magic is imagining together the impossible. It is to create that sense of feeling the limitlessness of the imagination, and for us to give something entertaining and, well, just magical to play around with. And it could be absurdly silly, but it's going back to that very childlike sense of play. We're just playing together, all right? It's not this me versus you, I'm gonna fool you challenge thing. It's, hey, we're having fun together. So I love this routine because it establishes that. This routine was deeply inspired by Kainoa Harbottle. I loved his pendulum hanging coins. Please go check out his work. Coins on Edge, Cointopia, fantastic stuff. I'd never seen somebody do this kind of work with coins. So they place the coin in the left hand and it would vanish. Place the coin in the right hand and it would vanish. And the swapping back of the hands was just one of the most beautiful things. It really got me into coin magic. It was so inspiring for me. And I wanted to recreate it, but with 3 separate coins, three completely different looking coins. Because Kainoa is there's some shuttle pass moves that happen, so the coins would actually technically change, but because they're silver, you don't know that. So I wanted to change things up, and that's how I came up with this. So let's dive into it. You're gonna have a silver dollar. It's a Morgan silver dollar, as we talked about before. It's a Chinese coin from Roy Cooper. I got this penguin magic. This one's old and beat up. I really like it that way. I don't know, it's got character. But there's a bunch of these on the market. This is a tiger tan coin. This is from copelandcoins.com. I highly recommend you guys check this out. This coin I love very much. It is just beautiful. It's got tiger on one side, it's got orangutan on the other. It's just a gorgeous coin, and it's got this nice contrast where all these coins just have, it's so easy to tell they're three completely different coins. You got black, silver, and this has such an orangey color that they all just contrast each other really well. So I really like these coins for this routine. So I start with the silver coin on bottom, copper coin in the middle, Chinese coin on top. I talked about Chinese coin, display, copper one, display, each one going to the bottom. So I'm back in this order. I'm going to take the Chinese coin and I'm going to do the CB retention. So I'm not going to swing all the way into the hand. I'm just going to swing to this point directly under the thumb. Then as I go to grab these coins, I'm going to swing this coin back out and grab these coins into stealth grip. This is stealth grip. The two coins in fan are being held by just the first finger and thumb. The first finger is at the top of the silver coin in front. The thumb is on the back of the copper coin, directly behind the first finger. This coin is held between the middle finger and thumb like so. And this is stealth grip. So we do the move and we vanish. Now at this point in the routine, I say this comes from a Chinese restaurant down the road, and I gesture to my left. This is giving motivation for why I'm handing the coin into my left hand and vanishing in that direction, rather than just placing a coin in the left hand and vanishing. Why would we do that? If this coin is already in the right hand, wouldn't I just do something like that? There's so many things I could do with just it being in the right hand. So I hand it to the left. We give motivation by talking about the Chinese restaurant down the road. Say when this disappears, I get a free egg roll. So at this point I come back and I'm gonna grab this copper coin. And I'm gonna do the stealth steal. I love this move. Like, really love this move. I just love how sneaky it is. It's so sneaky. So this middle finger is going to come in. It's gonna balance that Chinese coin on its side. And as the first finger and thumb go to grab this copper coin, this coin gets clipped under the thumb, like that. So it's kind of like you're swapping the stealth grip, but just taking away the silver coin. And then the middle finger can pull this in to downs. And you can rotate. So once again, we are here. Middle finger is going to come in, steal this coin as we grab the copper one. You can break this down in two moves. You can just transfer this grip over. You can just transfer it to stealth grip of the other hand, but pulling out the silver coin. And then with this in stealth, you can pull this into the hand, like so. But you need a talking point here because that's going to take a beat or two to do that. I prefer to do it in one movement, where I have actually completely moved this coin all the way into downs by the time I've pulled this copper coin from the silver coin. To do this, you have to know the balance point to the side of your middle finger. This is the point where this coin will stay horizontal and rest on the side of the middle finger. If you know this spot, then you could come in, grab that, and behind the coins, thumb reaching over to grab the copper one, the middle finger pulls the coin back into that clipped position we talked about earlier, and the clip pulls in to down spawn as we grab the copper coin. this point, I like to rotate the coins. Rotating the coins, the middle finger is coming behind the coins, pushing forward, the thumb releasing those edges so it can rotate around, the thumb pushing down, and then they're held between the middle fingers, gives motivation for this display. This is a nice display, it makes the hands look really empty. But why would you display like this? If you were just here and you did this, that's a weird thing to do. It's not natural, it's not motivated. But actually, if you were to spin the coins, you end up in this position anyways. So you can have a moment of displaying the coins like such. I don't know why I tap here, but if you want to do it like I do, just tap the coins for no reason at all. Speaking of motivation, I'm now going to take this coin and do a retention into this hand. Once again, my pinky is going to come in a little bit farther. This is going to give the cover for the middle finger to go forward. The middle finger comes forward, does the retention, and I'm not going to come in all the way into the stack. I'm actually just going to come into about here. It's where this edge meets that edge of the coin. I'm going to break this down to 2 moves. So I go here, that's the retention. This way my hand looks the same after the move as it did before. And then in the action of going to get the other coin, my middle finger finished pulling in and I moved those coins into downs. So it can be broken up into 2 moves like such. 1 move, left here underneath the thumb, not yet pulled in. And then as we go to grab that coin, we finish the move. So it can be broken down to 2 moves like that. Or we could break it down to 2 moves a different way. We can place this coin here, leave it clipped under the thumb, grab the silver dollar, and now while this is vanishing, we can move the copper in the rest of the way. This means we've got 3 coins in 3 different positions, 1 in downs, 1 clipped between the middle finger and thumb, that medium position, which still gives room for this first finger to move, so the first finger can grab the silver coin, and as this is vanishing, this hand can finish pulling this coin into downs. So if you have a hard time doing this move quick enough, quietly, because it's hard to do quietly, it takes a lot of practice, you can go to the halfway point, you get to here, so I haven't actually gone all the way in, and as I wave, to say this one's vanishing, that could be the magical gesture, that can cover the movement of slowly moving that coin in. That's something you could do while you're practicing doing this silently. At this point, that coin vanishes, and at this point I was talking about the tiger. I talk about the tiger and, it sees a zebra, so I look that way first. This is my reason for getting to here. I say, look, a zebra, and he's gone. He goes to chase the zebra. And I use this silly pattern here because I find it's entertaining, it gets laughs, and it gives me all the misdirection to do this next move. So I say, yeah, he goes to chase the zebra, which is on a different continent. So technically he swims across the Indian. Oh, never mind. So I like this. It's silly, it's fun. It gives a lot of misdirection for the DG stack transfer. Not a very creative name. I didn't have a good creative name for this, so I just called it a DG stack transfer. There's other moves that I've created that you might have realized I lacked creativity at the time. So in doing this, we'll hand the coin over, we're relaxing, we're pondering. The confusion state of trying to figure this out gives motivation for handing a coin from one hand to the other without purpose. Because the hand a coin from one hand to the other doesn't quite have purpose. But if you're confused, you would act in a way that doesn't necessarily have purpose. So once again, you have proper motivation here. So let's talk about the stack. We're in downs. We're going to do a knuckle roll. This is important. Please go learn knuckle roll. You need it for this. This is all over YouTube. Just find it. One tip is keep your fingers relaxed. Don't think of gripping it so hard, actually. Think of it more like it's falling, like your fingers are kind of barely guiding it. I don't do the cleanest knuckle roll, but you'll need it for this move because when you come out of a knuckle roll, you get to this point where you're about to do it again. This gives motivation for why the coin is here, because we need the coin here to do the move, which is now we're going to come over and grab this coin, and as we do so, the stack in downs is going to go directly on top of the middle finger, slightly clipped by the first finger, but mostly just on balance on that middle finger. Now don't worry, you're not going to balance it here for long. the first two fingers of this hand will clip this coin like so, and the second they have that coin, the thumb can slide down, grab this coin, you want to get a lot of the thumb on there, and pull this back into a further clip position as this one continues the coin roll. From that clip, we're going to do the same clip we did before, but with two coins, pull the coins in to downs. Finish the coin roll, hand it back over to this hand. Once again, there's no, what is the motivation to hand it to this hand? Then we're going to hand it back a second later. Technically, there is no motivation. We cover that motivation by actually having a very clear act of confusion. This is an anxious thing to do, to have no motivation, no purpose for why we're handing a coin back from one hand to the other. This is why it builds suspicion when we hand a coin from one hand to the other for no reason, and why someone goes, it's in the other hand, is because there was no reason to do this in the first place. So it looks unnatural. We could have proper motivation just in the sense of having a coin in a, go to do the move as I go to pick up my glass and then drink my water. Can't pick up a glass with coins in downs palm. Not yet. But that's not the point. Cheers. The point is, that gives motivation. So this doesn't come off as suspicious. In this case, it's really suspicious. But nothing is innately unnatural. Naturalness is based on context. Just as before when we were talking about the retention and how weird this grip is, about how we give it naturalness, about talking about the tension of squeezing a coin, now it's natural to do unmotivated things because we're in a confusion state of talking about to cross the Indian Ocean, to get the zebra, etc., etc. So now I'm going to do the move, do a retention to this hand, or I say this silver dollar, this one will go, I'll hold on to this. This is real money. And we could look at our pocket first to tell, communicate where this is going, why it's going into the left hand, do the retention, tuck away to the pocket. Now, if we're sitting, this hand could come to rest, all coins and downs. If we're standing, we can completely let this arm relax and swing down. We're going to come back up, and we're going to produce all three coins at the same time, using a production that I call the hands-on production. First, we have to get all these coins from downs into curl palm. How we do that? By the middle finger contacting the thumb. The thumb starts to lift away as the middle finger curls around. It rides along the thumb until you have them all clipped, like so. And curl palm. So from curl palm, we're going to produce all three of these at the same time. So what happens here is the thumb comes behind this stack, makes contact with its edge. The middle finger extends, and it rolls to the tips of the fingers like this. Actually rolling this stack. The tips of the fingers like this. First fingers come in front. Coins get pushed up, and we count them. At speed, the move looks like so. The hands are here, come together, and all three coins are produced. Let's talk about some details in this move. First of all, the middle finger of this hand is going to be directly on the other side of this middle finger. The thumb's going to contact here. This thumb is going to be on the other side of that thumb. This is so there's nothing floating around. Everything's symmetrical. Okay? So once again, the thumb contacts here, these fingers are here, and as they slide apart, those coins roll to the fingertips. All four fingers are holding the coins. If we have this perfectly horizontal, we will not flash, and we are going to push up with the thumbs as the first fingers come in front, spread the coins, and count them. The way that I count them is like so. Push up. I pull two away. The silver one is the closest one to me. I'm going to count onto the copper one here. The Chinese one I'm going to count in front of the copper one. Silver one was behind. And then I'm going to count the silver one again onto the bottom. And I do this count as I say. I can make more money. It's as simple as 1, 2, 3. I hold all 3 coins in the right hand. The next move is the symphony retention. This is a retention that I love very, very, very much. It has a good burn, it's got a nice little sound effect, and you get a nice retention into downs. So we can go here, do the retention, come over, I'm grabbing a piece, toss it away, and it vanishes. It's using something I call the daddy long legs principle. We'll talk about it in a moment. First, let's get into the details of this retention. So, this is deeply inspired by Rune Clan's Viking Vanish, mixed with the Bobo Vanish. You guys may know the Bobo Vanish is this thing, right? It's a fun little vanish. I have a little subtlety in it, just doing this wiggly thing. Just doing it with the middle finger, right? Bobo's was like this. You had all 4 fingers. You do this and you come away like that. But you can have just the middle finger, pointer finger pointing out like this. Do this whole thing. And you just pull it in like that as you would point. So this was a little subtlety I had on the Bobo Vanish. So then I took that and I added it to 3 coins. What we're going to do is the thumb is over a whole bunch of the coins here. And we're going to toss the coins onto the thumb. This part is basically identical to Rune Clan's Viking Vanish. Go check that out. Great stuff. So all the coins are going to land squared up on the thumb. So we do a tossing action. The thumb moves with the coins. The coins make some nice sound, but they land mostly squared up on the palm, top of the thumb. These fingers are going to curl in, the pinky and ring fingers. We're going to leave these other ones open. Because the pinky and ring fingers are going to give us the cover for the middle finger of this hand to contact the edge of these coins here. So we get the light flashing through the other fingers there to get that burn. But the middle finger is pulling these coins away by contacting here, covered by the pinky and ring finger. This whole stack is going to get flopped over the side of the middle finger. So it's held between the side of the middle finger and the thumb is on a large portion of these coins. So now the middle finger, thumb curl in, they go into this clip type position. Now if you do not have your thumb over a large portion of these coins, you're more like this, then when you go do this, your thumb's going to bend like that to pull in. We don't want that. We want the thumb flat. Okay? So we have to have a large portion of our thumb on these coins. Do the retention, middle finger contacts here. That middle finger and thumb pull in as the hand comes away. And we can point. Pointing's a little bit odd, not gonna lie, but if you do it really subtly and you do it as you're speaking on something, it shouldn't bring too much suspicion to what you're doing. So once again, toss the coins onto the thumb and stack. Pinky and ring finger come together, which just gives cover for the middle finger to contact this edge. As these fingers finish closing, the thumb flops that onto the side of the middle finger, pulls it into clip. Now the thumb can come over, if we could curl in again, into downs palm. This we're going to use to do something that I refer to as the daddy long legs principle. So let's talk about daddy long legs principle. What is this? It's not a spider. So daddy long legs is not an arachnid because they only have 6 legs. This is why I call it this, because there's the spider grip principle, right? Which a lot of people do. There's many different variations on it. People do it. Boom from classic palm. There's ways it's done where people come like so and they do it into nowhere. The problem with it that I didn't like is it's kind of a big slap in the face to the spectator. This should be the vanish. But instead, the vanish, this should be the climax of it. Boom, the coin vanishes. But instead, the climax is a, aha, I got you. It's intentionally designed to make your spectator look like a fool. For hecklers, if you want to take the approach of like punishing them, you can do this. I try to make sure that my spectators don't feel like magic is a challenge. I want them to feel like we're playing. So I try to not present things in a way that's puzzling and challenging. I just think they can relax and enjoy it more when that's the case. And yet I love to spider grip vanish because when you would do something like this hand looks so empty because they still believe the coin is here. You don't have to show this hand empty like this. This is empty enough. It's confirmation that the coin is not here because they already believe it's not there. Unfortunately, now the vanish is not where the vanish is supposed to be. The climax of this move is proving that you didn't do what you got them. I didn't do what you think I did, right? But I still wanted to use that principle. So it's a little bit backwards, but here's the principle. You take a coin, place it in the hand. We say if we reach in and take out the pieces, we can toss those away, and that makes it disappear. So we get the same principle of getting to show this hand empty in a way that feels like, oh, clearly it's still there. And now the vanish is where it's supposed to be. This is just miming to talk about how the vanish occurs. So now the vanish occurs where it's supposed to be. It's not a I got you kind of thing. We're using presentation to use a part of the spider grip vanish that I loved so much. But because it's not, haha, I got you kind of mentality, and gave it a completely different name, and therefore it's called the Daddy Long Legs principle. So, just as before we do the retention, get here, we say, talk about spending the money. This gesture of being in curl palm is a weird thing. You wouldn't want to start like this. You look like a cowboy. So if you're wearing a cowboy hat, then you can do this because it gives proper motivation. And you can say, howdy y'all, we're gonna start a routine. And then you have motivation for why you're in this grip. But if you start a routine like this, you don't have motivation. I think my cameraman walked off because he's laughing too hard. Yeah, you don't have motivation for this. What's going on here? But this can look like a tossing action. So that's what we're doing here. We do the move, come over, mime grabbing a piece, grinding it between the fingers, and tossing it away. So now we can do this curl palm display because it's tossing, it's properly motivated, looks natural, and come back and show that that's made it disappear. This is a Chinese silver tiger. Hey guys, so I want to talk to you about imagination. Sound is technically just vibrations moving through the air, yet we experience it as this is just an imagined sense in our heads. It's like when we think we hear our phone ring, but then we find out it wasn't actually there. It was somewhere else entirely. It makes you wonder, how much of this is reality and how much of it is just imagination? So, Symphony Silver is a routine to play around with the aspect of sound, talking about what is sound and what are sense perceptions. The goal was to give a presentation that was fun and would invoke some kind of shift in people's awareness and look at how much are we actually imagining. And it was to point to the qualities of magic that we are imagining. It's if I have coins, we'll use that one. But if we are imagining that a coin is there so that when it disappears, it feels like a vanish because we imagined that coin was there. So we are imagining, and I kind of wanted to point to that to see if it could be inflated a bit more, or pointed to a bit more, or intensified. So I wanted to talk about sound and sense perceptions and how all of this stuff is kind of happening in the mind. Sound is just vibration, but our brain fills in this thing that we know to be sound. Without ears, it would be nothing like that. It would be a felt thing. But we actually turn like physical vibration into what we know as sound. So it's a very interesting thing. So I start by talking about that and clinking the coins together. This is why I highly recommend silver. This is just such a nice... Silver has its own little beautiful symphony. Such a nice sound. So the first move is going to play around with sound even further. This is the BTP click pass. So it's back thumb palm click pass. So what's going to happen here is these coins are going to look as though they go into the hand together, but they don't. So let's break this move down hand by hand. So we'll start with the right hand. This coin is going to go into back thumb palm with one finger. This is a move I've been doing for a long time. I think since I first read Bobo's and I was learning about all the different palms, learning palms from different moves, and I read this palm and I thought, you know, there's an easier way to get into this. And I started doing this. I know later other people, a lot of people have also released work on this. Mickey Wong has work released on the BTP. He's got some beautiful work released on the BTP. But for this, I'm going to tell you how we're going to do it using gravity, which is that if the palm turns downwards, the coin balance on the first finger, you could curl in. The thumb is actually reaching towards the pinky. See, it's coming really far over here. So the first finger can push this coin into the thumb crotch. With the dollar, the way this coin sits in this little groove of the finger, you can really push it in there. The thumb clips, so we're like this, and the thumb, when it slides back, brings the coin with it into back thumb palm. Palm down at speed, looks like this. Make a fist, clip, open. At the same time, I'm going to do something interesting with this hand. Now I have two techniques with this. I've been overworking on this routine for a really long time. I do this thing where, you guys know when you spring cards like that? So we're going to do that with this coin. We'll hold the coin with the middle finger and thumb. The first finger pushes up and it flips open. Flips open, it flips. It flips this way, towards the thumb. That's going to happen as the other coin goes into back thumb palm. This coin's going to flip up, hit that one, and land back in this hand. This is the original method I used to do for this, and it's the one that I still do to this day. I like the way it feels. I like how much gap you can have between the hands. Another option for this is to hold the coin like so. I'll show you what this looks like, and you do like that. This is placing this coin to back thumb palm and just smacking this coin at the same time that we release it. So it has some air for a moment there, and we hit it into the hand. You could do either one. Two separate methods. Whoops. But we'll end in this position. One coin in the hand, one in back thumb palm. Now the angles for this. If this coin is horizontal, you're pretty good. You wouldn't want anyone directly to your left, but even to your right, you have your whole arm covers it. We're going to come up, and I'm going to touch my ear here, and now I have great cover. Anyone to my left is good, and you'd have to be all the way to my right to see this coin. So touch, talk about it coming out of the head or out of the ear, that the sound is in our head, like so. This coin will be produced by releasing the coin as the hand falls down. It'll fall through the gap between the thumb and the fingers to finger palm position. So from here to here. So as the hand comes down, we release the coin so it can fall through to finger palm. Now we have two coins, one in each hand. We're going to go into talking about an experience that people can relate to. We want to have good misdirection here. We're talking about sound that gives them motivation for the tapping of these coins. But at the same time, this move happens so openly, we want a little bit of misdirection here. And one form of misdirection is to just keep the mind occupied. The spectator can't think, did a move just happen there, if they're busy thinking about something else. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about an experience that we've all had as human beings, which is when you think your phone is ringing, but it's not. And at this point, if you're in a room, you can even ask people. You can say, we've all had that experience where we hear our phone ringing, but then it's not actually there. Do you guys know this experience? You could ask a question which occupies their mind. They'll go, yeah, we know that experience. And you can do that as you're doing this next move. Now, so what we're going to do is we're going to tap this coin. This is going to push to the fingertips. As we tap here, holding this coin between the fingers like so, tap, tap, we're just going to take that coin into stealth grip. So once again, first finger and thumb are holding the coin. Middle finger is going to come behind like this. So there's a gap there between the middle finger and thumb. Tap, tap. Second tap. Middle finger is going to clench down and come away. Okay. I try not to look at the hands when I do this move. So I'm here talking about the coins, this experience of hearing our cell phone ringing, but then we find out it wasn't. You guys know this experience, right? Where sound seems to be somewhere, but it's not. You could do something like that. So I try to look up when I do something like this, because when you look at the hands, you're bringing awareness to the hands. They're going to focus where you're focusing. You're the reference point for the social dynamic of this group. So what you present is being followed. So where you look will be followed. If you look up at the audience and you ask a question, that's the focus. If I look down at the coin and I do this, that's the focus. This is going to bring obvious attention to this move, and they may see, oh, the coin's not there anymore. So we tap, tap, come up. I'm still holding in the exact same position. I vanish, and we're going to produce this coin at the same time. You can do it silently, or you can let's see if I can get it. It's hard to get this snap, but you can get it to snap if you like the sound aspect. I prefer to do this silently. What's going to happen here is the middle finger is going to slowly slide out. But first the thumb's going to pinch this coin over. So the thumb is pinching this top part of the coin against the coin held between the first finger and the thumb. And the middle finger just slowly slides out. And this can be done really silently. Middle finger comes out slowly. The coin gets levered up against that coin, and you have a production. At this point, we're going to drop the coins into finger palm, and we're going to do a really fun click pass. So this is a Goshman move. I first learned this move from David Williamson's Penguin Live lecture, and it's just so casual and relaxed. I love how this feels. I use this a lot. It just has this feeling. It's just very free. So we're going to do that, but with 2 coins. And this is also deeply inspired by Kainoa Harbottle. He's got this really awesome click pass where he has 2 coins. He lifts 1 coin and drops it back on the first to do a click pass. And I just love this move so much. Kainoa has some work on this. It's definitely in his Penguin Live lecture, but I can't remember where else I've seen it at the moment. So let's talk about how this move works. The coin is slid to the base of the first finger, almost like you're about to go into JW, where we can keep the finger straight. The middle finger clips this coin, causing it to flip over, and it lands on the pinky ledge. If the pinky is slightly forward like this, you have a pinky ledge. I can't remember who coined the term pinky ledge. It was either Kainoa or Williamson, but I love it. You can put a lot of coins in pinky ledge. This is a cool thing, because fingers can be straight, your hand can be very vertical, and you can hold coins like that. So the middle finger clips this coin, it flips over and lands in pinky ledge position. Okay. Now when we do this move, we don't want to over clip at the middle finger, because when we get here, the first finger will be covering too much of that coin. You want as much of a flash on that coin as you possibly can to get this good retention of vision. So you want to just barely clip that coin, flips over, lands on the pinky. The other aspect of this is you want that flash, the point where it flashes, which is right about here, you want that to line up with about this part of the hand, okay? Because that's the part the fingers are going to cover. If you're up here, this doesn't make quite the same amount of sense as this. To get that flash line up here, we just make sure we're perfectly horizontal of it. So this hand's pretty vertical. This hand swings in. Pinky of this hand's going to touch halfway down these fingers. That should be about where this coin, at its most vertical point, will be perfectly horizontal across from here. The hands swing in, swing out. Now the swinging in, swing out will actually help with the move. It's kind of like when someone slams on the brakes and you go forward. If you swing in and you stop suddenly, at the same time this middle finger pulls in, kind of does that brake thing, and the coin kind of flips over. So it kind of helps with the move. Once again, just as we talked about before, immediately after the flash, we want the hand moving away to get that good retention of vision. So when we come in, once this flips up, my hand should start moving immediately after that point. My hand is just started moving away as the coin is hitting my ring finger. So I swing in, I swing out. So I took this Kainoa principle, this move, mix it with this Goshman thing, and we have this. It's a very visual retention with sound of 2 coins going into the hand. So same as before, we're going to have 2 coins in finger palm. We're going to slide this one off to the base of the first finger, and we're going to do the move, but now with another coin here. Exact same move. The hand's going to swing in, swing out. We have this good retention of vision and sound of the coins going from my right hand into my left. So I like to shake the coins a little bit before this. If you shake, 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 it gives this feeling that the coins are loose. They're not like gripped. This gives the feeling that they're just kind of hanging out there and that they could be released at any moment. So I like that. It's something we can do here. And we're going to close the hand. And we could close the hand and make a tight fist, or we can leave it open a little bit. This is something I like to do, is you keep it open a little bit like so. This has this feeling that you can kind of look in if you wanted to, kind of feeling. This is something I got from Cameron Braxton, a good friend of mine, and he always, has his hand like this. It doesn't have this suspicious sense of you're hiding something. It has this feeling of like, oh, there's something there. It's just out of my view, almost like you're not trying to hide the fact that you're not holding a coin. It's a little subtlety you can add to any vanish, right? It has that very natural feel. So at this point we're here. This hand comes over, does the move, and this hand comes to rest at the side. I talk about imagination, and as this hand comes up and points, at this point we'll make sound by shaking the left hand. The thumb pinch the thumb will catch the edge of this coin, pulling the coin up. The thumb pinched up against the first finger here. We'll shake and at the same time release this coin onto the other coin in finger palm. We'll pinch the thumb against the first finger so that we don't do this to release the coin, but rather we can maintain contact so there's no obvious motion of releasing the coin. So we can point, shake, making a sound as though the coins are in this hand. I'm going to move those coins into nowhere palm. So let's talk about nowhere palm. Let's talk about putting one coin in nowhere palm. The coins sit on the finger palm position. And I know some people have released some work on this. Zijian apparently has released some very similar work on this. Nowhere palm is originally from Jeff Latta. Amazing palm. I think it's one of the greatest things offered to the coin magic community. And we're going to talk about it in good detail, why I love it so much. So we're here. The edge of this coin is going to be centered with the ring finger. Ring finger is going to curl in a little bit. This is going to allow us to lift the coin up, vertical, to sit in the crease of that third finger. It's a curl palm. Now we shouldn't have gaps. We don't want like gaps in here. This. We want a good seal all the way around. Okay, so this takes some practice, but you can get it. So once again, the ring finger curls down. It's not curling up like this, it's kind of, the knuckles also kind of pulling down. You can actually even do this without the thumb. The ring finger can actually pull that edge down and the middle finger can straighten the coin. But in this case, we're using this part of the thumb here to move the coin into nowhere. And the reason we're using this part of the thumb is because if I use the tip of my thumb from finger palm, it looks like that. Not so good. If I use this part of the thumb, I can go from finger palm to curl palm in just the action of rubbing my fingers together. So this is a lot more natural. So the thumb comes down, continues over in a circle. Now nowhere palm is often seen like this. People do it very straight on, because if they came too far out this way, they would flash that coin. This is not a deceptive quality of nowhere palm. But when you can show a lot more of the palm, this starts to look a lot more visual. So let's talk about this. This is tricky. This means your ring finger has to curl farther into your palm. Unfortunately, when a lot of people do this, their middle finger goes with it and they're like this. It doesn't have that same open feeling. We have to stretch to get this. I'm gonna teach you a stretch. We're gonna do some mini hand yoga, okay? You need no yoga pants for this. Unless there's yoga pants that go on your fingers, which you could probably make a routine out of that. I divert. We're going to reach down with the ring finger and the pinky towards the wrist. And you'll find if you start reaching down really far, this middle finger bends over like this. It does not want to stay straight. We're going to place our middle finger on our ring finger here, our first finger on our middle finger, and we're going to stretch this space here. The ring finger down towards the wrist, the middle finger straight up. You should feel a deep stretch in here. Okay? This is important because for the ring finger to curl in and the middle finger to stay stretched out, we have to really practice that stretching. Those tendons have to be able to separate. The other thing that makes this natural is that each finger is slightly more curled in than the last. The middle finger is curled in just a tiny bit. The ring finger is curled in slightly more, and then the pinky's all the way. This gives this very natural feel to this. So, this is nowhere palm. It is no different with multiple coins. It is the exact same mechanics, same exact move. All we're going to do is release and catch really fast to produce those coins. Hey guys, so I want to show you something interesting with some silver dollars and reality, which is occurring within space. But do you ever think about, where does space occur within? Is there a space within space that space occurs? And if so, can we tuck things into that space between space? So then it's like, it's there and it's not. It's everywhere and it's nowhere. It exists and it doesn't. Yet that coin is now one with space, which is, anywhere I want it to be. There's space everywhere. So technically they should go to the same spot. And since it doesn't have a location I could take from anywhere, and still stretch that space open and find my silver dollars. But if it's everywhere and nowhere, then it doesn't have a location. If it doesn't have a location, then we're quite fortunate these came back as silver dollars. They could have been Asian currency. Here's the explanation for unexpected. This is one of my absolute favorite routines. I just had the idea to, vanish coins. I wanted to go back and forth, vanishing silver dollars, and yet at the end have this surprise ending of it changing into this copper and Chinese coin. So I played around with this for a while, and this is what I came up with, and it was just an idea until I went out and performed it, and I saw how strong of reactions it got, and I've had so much fun with this. This routine has gotten so much mileage. I perform it all the time, and I hope you do too. I hope you really take the time to learn this one, because it is a lot of fun. So let's dive into it. I have the copper and Chinese coin in my left hand. This is my least dominant hand, but that's where it's at. So I'm gonna hold the silver dollars at the fingertips here. Tap for, I don't even know why, I just do this every single time I start the routine. And then I'm going to do a retention, the left hand. Go all the way into stack as I come and grab this coin. Vanish here. I'm talking about space. So I gesture towards space, hand the coin over, and do this. This is naturally very unnatural, if that makes any sense. It's naturally unnatural. And that these are two silver coins, they're the same coins. Why would I put this coin into this hand to place it over here if I already have a coin in this hand that I could place there? It makes no sense. So we really have to keep them occupied with something that has like a good pattern that's interesting and really gives them something to think about. So I love this pattern. I talk a lot about, you know, space, the space in which space occurs, which is a weird thing. It's this concept that's really hard to even grasp. It kind of leaves you slightly confused, and at the same time, like, whoa, what is space? That is an interesting thing, right? Technically, an atom is 99.99999999999% empty space. That's exactly 12 nines. That's the amount of space between the protons, neutrons, and electrons. And this is something that's observable, and yet space doesn't exist, and yet it is the catalyst for all things. It is the space in which all things occur. You need it, and it's not real. It's just a really fascinating thing. So, sorry to bore you with that, but I like this topic. So it gives them something to occupy, so we're talking about that, so we can do this retention, talk about tucking it into space. I then continue to speak as I do the coin roll here. We're going to do the DG stack transfer from before, continuing to roll the coin. Now this is another situation where I'm talking in this way that's kind of confused and gives a lot of misdirection for this fidgety sequence, is I'm talking about like, oh, it exists and it doesn't. It's everywhere and it's nowhere. It's here and it's not. Which is this kind of interesting thing that plays into our pattern and motivation for the last change at the end. So we do the retention of the coin in this hand. Yes. I'm gonna mime grabbing the coin, get this spider grip, daddy long legs principle here of before. Right, say we squeeze it down, hand it back here, and then tuck it in. Sorry, that was a bad. There we go. Ah, yes. Happy now. I'm going to tuck that into space. You'll see I keep this hand kind of curled. You almost have like this Ramsey subtlety quality. So it almost looks like you're, you say, yeah, we squeeze it down, it becomes really small, and then we can tuck in that space. This hand kind of looks a little guilty, but at the same time it's still vanishing in the hand that it's supposed to. So that occurs. We're talking about how this space is everywhere and nowhere, so we can pull from anywhere. If we take this little piece of space and stretch it open, and at this point we're going to do the hands-on production I went over earlier, but we're going to do something a little different here. We're only going to produce 2 of the 4 coins that are in Dan's palm, which means this ring finger has to come over and pull just 2 coins. Just 2 coins. This takes practice. What I encourage you to do is put coins, stack of 4 coins in Dan's palm, and practice just taking 1. See what that feels like. Notice how far the edge of your middle finger can you use to pull that coin. Just play around with that, and then see if you can get 2. And then you can even play around getting 3. Okay. So we're gonna pull those 2 coins up, and just like before, this thumb comes up behind the back side of it, and we roll it out. Everything's still the same. We just have these other coins here in Dan's. So we have 2 coins. Whoops. 2 coins, they roll out, and we are going to close these fingers around and produce and pull apart. We're talking about spreading space open, right? Kind of pulling it open, so it's action makes sense with that. Pull them out, and I like to do the twisty thing. Once again, as we talked about before, rotating the coin gives brief motivation for why we're holding this way. Hands look really empty. We're going to drop the coins into this left hand here. Shake, shake, and I relax a little bit. My shoulders drop. There's a sense that the routine is over, and I say, well, we're glad it came back as silver dollars, because these could have come back as Chinese coins, right? We talk about how they don't have a location, and therefore they could have come back as Chinese coins. So let's talk about this. We drop these in the hand. These 2 are in downs. We're going to reach in at the middle finger and pull out into clip. So we go from downs to clip. Downs, pull in, we're in clip, pull out. As we come to grab these, the thumb goes on top of this. So the thumb is on top of this stack of 2, the middle finger underneath. This can extend as we grab these 2 silver coins in the stealth grip that we went over earlier. So just as before, the first finger is on the top of that bottom coin, the thumb is on the back of the top coin there. And these 2 coins, when you're doing these 2 coins, it's very important to know that these 2 coins are on top of, or touching that top coin. You don't want them underneath like this. They will get stuck in a weird way if you do that. So you want them up against that top coin there. We're going to come into the hand, and once we get into here, we have cover. We can rotate, right? We need that cover because we don't want them to see these coins here. So the fingers are closed, we rotate, and these 2 silver dollars are going to close. This is why we couldn't have this touching those bottom ones before. If we try to close these, it's getting caught on those. So we're going to close these into downs. We're going to start to come away. We're going to grab the edge of the copper coin with these 2 fingers, slide this back, and pull apart, like so. The hands will come in, we will turn, and the silver dollars will go directly into downs. The ring finger of this hand will push these coins up, closer to the tips of the middle finger and thumb, where they will be split apart. And then spin the coins again, and that is the end of the routine. So, one more time. We've gone through most of the moves for this routine earlier on, so this, if you've practiced that, you should know everything there is to know for this routine. But very quickly, copper and Chinese coin in the left hand, silver's at the fingertips. We do a retention into the right, take the coin, it vanishes. We do this knuckle roll, as you're talking about it's here and it's not, it's everywhere and it's nowhere, it exists and it doesn't. This one vanishes as well, as we talk about the next piece of space, bringing attention to that. We just make it really small. We can tuck it into space. We're going to grab any piece of space, because all space is the same space, because it exists and it doesn't, it's everywhere and it's nowhere. And we're going to pull out those 2 silver coins again, get to this point. We're talking about spreading space open, which gives that motivation for why the hands are coming in and coming out the way they are. Drop, readjust into the stealth grip, curl, do the change. Place those into the left hand, because this hand's the one holding out, and that's the routine. So let's talk a little bit about presentational theory. What is magic? I think we can all agree that magic is the beauty of mystery. It's appreciating mystery, which is a hard thing to do these days. We live in the age of information where you can know anything at the click of a button, and to admit you don't know something can often feel a little degrading. It's not as appreciated these days, the experience of not knowing. But the mind that doesn't know is the mind that is open to new things. This is so important that we invite our spectators into having that mind and appreciating that mind so that they can appreciate that sense of mystery and magic that we express. This means carrying them through that in a way that is kind and fun and entertaining, where they feel included rather than it feels like a challenge to their intellect. Anytime we present magic in a way where someone's trying to figure it out, it's often because we presented it as a puzzle. And there's so many ways we do this that we don't mean to. Just narrating and we make the coin disappear. We make the coin disappear and it jumps across. We're making the trick the focus. If the trick is the focus, the moves are the focus, then their motivation is, did it fool me, did it not fool me? But if we are talking about things dissolving into space, tucking into little pockets in space, or whatever it may be, we create a false method that we're very, clearly imagining together in this very silly way that expresses the fact that, oh, the real method doesn't matter, we're playing, right? We're kind of getting around that whole, like, this is a puzzle, I'm gonna challenge your intellect, and I have to prove my worth, and I know how you did that kind of thing that we tend to invoke in spectators sometimes, by just agreeing that we're playing together, by imagining together. And that imagination comes from the space of not knowing. That is to connect with the not knowing mind. It is to take the not knowing mind into the aspiration to know. It starts to imagine in a way to start to connect with our environment. That is the union of those two. And that is a beautiful aspect of how the experience of magic is felt and created. Now, there's many ways that we create puzzles and we don't mean to. We may take a few coins and go to place them in the hand and vanish it. And we go like this, and we do this. We show that it's not in either hand. The second we get into that kind of, look, it's not here, look, it's not here, we're presenting a puzzle again, or we're presenting a challenge again. Not to say that we couldn't do that, but we can add some mystery and sense of magic to it by going, wow, there's like a little hole. I don't know if you can see that or feel it, but it's like, yeah, there's one here too. Right, so now I'm using my environment and imagining, and I'm still getting to show my hands empty. I'm still getting to display these ways of making it look magical. So even if they jump to the, where did that go? And they have those brief moments, there's these beautiful little convincers. But it doesn't come off as we're trying to challenge them or, aha, I gotcha kind of mentality. We're playing, so they will naturally start to try and figure it out. You can't stop them from doing that. That's completely normal. But we don't want them to spend their entire time there. We say, that's fine, you can go there, but we're also playing. And they come back to that play and the imagination. As long as you're making it fun, they prefer that. It's so much more fun than sitting there doing this. No one really likes that. It's more so that they feel challenged and they feel that they have to kind of prove themselves to you, or prove that they're not the dummy in the room. Which is how a lot of magicians present magic, unfortunately. They present it as, I am the possessor of the magic, and I am going to fool you. I am the smartest man in the room. And it's this, very egotistical thing. So let's let go of that. Let's have fun, and let's bring it into a more felt experience rather than an intellectual challenge. And I want to talk about an interesting way to do that. And it's using two fascinating psychological principles. One of which is called mirror neurons. And mirror neurons are a part of the brain that what they do is they simulate what the experience of others are. If I do this, all of a sudden your brain sends off the same electrical signals to your face. You don't necessarily make the same face, but you get a felt sense of what this means. This is your brain's involuntary response to try to understand what I'm expressing. Men know this really well. When we see another man get kicked between the legs, we go, oh! It's like you kind of feel it. So that is mirror neurons. You actually can't help it. And this goes back to an old sociological evolution that if somebody in the tribe all of a sudden looked threatened, you had to know what that experience was, because if they were threatened, that meant there was a threat in your space, and all of a sudden you found yourself in that same mindset. So we had this more group mentality, this group mind than we do these days. But this is still an involuntary response in the brain. This is also how tension and relaxation works. When you do this, you create tension. You're communicating, there's a threat. And when you're relaxed, you mean, oh, there's no threat. So the threat mind has to problem solve. It has to go, oh, how am I safe? What are the situations here? What's going on? So the second you do that, this is a primitive aspect of the brain, though we don't think in this way, it activates. When we relax, we're saying, oh, there's no threat. There's nothing to problem solve, nothing to figure out. So then they relax. But going back and forth between these contrasts are important. So the union of these two, how to use these back and forth, in so many ways. I mean, we can talk about a silver dollar, this one being from 1870. I'm sorry, my eyesight's not the best. You might be able to see it better on camera, maybe. Can we hold this up to the, oh, never mind. So I don't know if that that may or may not got you. This works much better in actual space than it does over video. But there's this tension and relaxation quality of things that causes the mind to start rationalizing, causes the mind to relax rationalizing. And there's many ways to do this. And this coin is from 1879, and I have one, this one's from 1921, right? So once again, we have another means of proper misdirection. We have the tension, we relaxed, we built tension again, which is redirecting the mind, the problem-solving mind elsewhere, which is another kind of misdirection as we go to reach, and therefore this doesn't get noticed. So I mention these because so many young magicians these days, so I've had a lot of young magicians following my work. A lot of you older guys don't need to know this stuff, but a lot of the younger guys, I don't see you using tension and relaxation. These are important principles, because when you have tension, it's suspicious. So the second you go do something under tension, they're wondering what's going on there, right? You go do this, and you're following it with your eyes, and you're leaned in. That's like very clearly a move, because you have all this tension. Why is there so much tension for something as simple as placing a coin in the hand? You know, if there wasn't tension, it'd be relaxed. You wouldn't even look at it. It would be a lot more subtle. So these are the different ways of using tension and relaxation and understanding them to create proper misdirection. Now, this is how mirror neurons create tension and relaxation. One other aspect I want to talk to you about that's really fun is mirror neurons in conjunction with another psychological principle called cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is something Thomas Jefferson wrote on quite a bit. It was that two conflicting beliefs in the brain couldn't both be inhabited. One would win over the other. He used this in that when someone didn't like him, he would ask for tiny favors and just work his way up to bigger favors. He'd say, hey, could you pass me a napkin? Oh, thank you. And then he'd work his way up to, can I borrow that book possibly? I could bring it back in a couple days. And for someone who believes they don't like him, but they're doing favors for him, they have these two conflicting beliefs in their brain. And you eventually win people over by this, because the people go, well, I must like him if I'm doing favors for him. He wrote on this in great detail. But this also applies to coins, because emotion creates mirror neurons, right? And emotions aren't the same as, I'll try to give you an example with this. I'm gonna try to crush this. It's a solid coin, so it's a little hard, but disappears. So let's talk about this. When you do this, especially in person for someone, and they feel your emotionality, they feel your tension, and your delight when it starts to go, and your wonder when it's completely gone. They feel that. They can't help it. It's an involuntary response of your mirror neurons. And then you have cognitive dissonance. You have two conflicting beliefs, which is, I don't know if you put that coin in that hand. You know? So that's one belief, which is, I'm not sure he put that coin in the hand. But then you have this, all these little convincers that feel so, you feel them. And that is that's stronger than a thought. And emotionality is stronger than a thought. This is why we can have fears that are irrational. We think, oh, why am I afraid of this? Why is this bothering me so much? It's because the emotional aspect of fear is so much stronger than your rationality. So this applies also to, things like this. Placing a coin in the hand, having this emotional aspect. Maybe it's the delight of tucking it into a spot. They feel that presentational aspect, and that brings it to life. And you guys have heard this before. This is, you have to believe it's there if you want them to believe it's there, right? But I wanted to express it in this way so that you can hear it maybe in a different light, to understand a little bit of the science behind how this works. So these are different aspects of misdirection. What are we misdirecting from? We're misdirecting them away from that problem-solving puzzle mind. We're trying to misdirect them away from the, I think I knew how that did that, was that a move, etc., etc. We're trying to get them to relax and enjoy magic. We have to invite them into that. That's a vulnerable spot. They have to enter the unknown with you. And that has to be fun. We have to do it in a fun way. We have to do it in a way that feels real, like we're imagining it together, like we're there with them, like the magic is happening to us as well. So it's not just, oh, I'm doing the magic and the magic's happening to you, which is a little too vulnerable for them, but the sense of, oh, look, the magic's happening to all of us, allows them to relax into it and experience it with you, to experience this sense of wonder. And just reframing the way we perform like this can change so much, especially in the realm of coin magic. Here's my main point here. A lot of people say, I don't get great reactions with coin magic. I always get good reactions with coin magic, and it's because I don't let the trick carry it. I have a presentation. The presentation is the focus. The tricks empower the presentation. It's like when we go to see a good movie. I guarantee you didn't leave Avengers Endgame and say, I know how they did those special effects. That's not where your mind goes. That's not the point of having seen the movie, right? But the special effects empower and made the story more magical. And we can do the same with our magic. The sleights, the moves, can make the presentation more magical. But the presentation, what we're talking about, has to be something that they can feel, that they can connect with, that feels like you're bringing it alive within their space, and that the space is magical, because they're a part of the space. So if the space is magical, then they can feel magic. If it's just I do the magic is just in my hands, then you're saying I own the magic. That's a bit different. So I want you to contemplate these things. Look at your coin magic. How can you add good story to it? How can you create a presentation that's fun and entertaining? How can you use emotionality and become that character? Imagine it to such a degree that when you produce a coin, what would it be like to actually produce a coin? I see so many magicians do this. Like, you just pulled a coin out of nowhere. Like, you're not even gonna look at that? Like, you're not curious, like, what that coin is? Like, how do you know you even pulled a coin out of thin air? You maybe reach in your grandma's underwear drawer and you have her thong in your hand. You have to actually look to see what you're holding on to, So it's when you produce a coin, what would it be like to do that? What would it be like to pull a coin out of nowhere and you're checking this out, I'm sorry, I'm sure your grandma doesn't wear a thong. I apologize. I didn't mean to put that image in your head. Let's forget I said that. Back to the coins. Back to the coin. So when we produce something, we should be excited that we just pulled that out of space. That's kind of a neat thing. When that vanishes, we should be delighted and shocked that it goes. We can connect in this way and bring our presentation to life. So it's not just words, it's a feeling. It's a story they can follow, it's a feeling we embody, we bring it into the environment, it's in their environment. They can hear it, they can see it, they can feel it. It becomes an extremely interactive experience. This allows our magic to be magical, to invoke wonder rather than a puzzle. So, people ask me to talk a bit on theory. This is the part of theory that I love the most and what I wanted to share with you guys. Play around with your imagination. Start imagining all the time. What would it be like if you could really do magic? What are the little details? What are little conflicts that could arise in trying to hang a silver dollar on a hook? Well, I don't know how a silver dollar goes on a hook. That doesn't quite make sense. So maybe you take that conflict. That can breed creativity just by using your imagination. We go, oh, we take silver dollar, and we go, okay, that didn't work. Oh, I know why that didn't work. There's no hole in this to hang on the hook. We see we need a power drill. and then you show that's changed to a Chinese coin, and then you vanish it and hang it on the hook. Right? Now you have this whole creative thing that came about that has all these details in this environment that brings it to life in a way that they can feel. So when you imagine things with such intense detail, you find conflict, actually. You go, well, how would this go on a hook? That doesn't quite make sense. Or, maybe some people use the shelf thing. They say, oh, well, we'll place it, it goes on a shelf. And you can go, sorry, that's so dusty. You can add all these little details. So when you start to imagine so fully, and you start to notice these details, you can really bring your magic to life in a bigger way. So I hope you found this helpful. And yeah, that's that. I hope you found it helpful. Hey guys, here's a quick bonus idea, something you can add into a routine. It uses a Chinese coin, and there's a copper coin here as well. We also have 2 silver dollars. Watch the silver dollars. If we take these coins and just give them a shake, those will change into the copper and Chinese coin, leaving the silver over here. So guys, the instruction to this bonus effect here, we have 2 silver dollars, 2 copper, not 2 copper, 1 copper, and 1 Chinese coin, and 2 silver coins. Not those silver coins, these silver coins. So we have 2 extra silver coins that we're gonna have in nowhere palm of the right hand. We're gonna pick these up. They'll be in the right hand with the thumb over a large portion of the coins here. This is similar to the symphony retention that we went over earlier, but a little bit different. These coins, in the action of being dropped into this hand, are actually just going to go from here. First finger is going to move out of the way, and they're going to fold over the middle finger. So it's like doing a retention with 2 coins, basically. Straight into clip. At the same time, the coins in nowhere palm are going to drop out of nowhere palm into finger palm of this hand. All together, it looks like that. So these are going to make the sound for us. These, not so much sound. So it's here to there. You get sound, you shake, and these go from clip into downs palm. We come grab these silver dollars. We're going to display at the fingertips here. This little subtlety of rubbing the coins in circles will take some practice while holding coins in downs, but it's a nice little subtlety that really makes the hands feel empty. Now we're going to do a really fun move that I call the waggle change. What's happening here is these 2 coins held by the middle finger and thumb are going to get lined up. They need to be perfectly lined up. So my ring finger is going to contact the bottom. They're going to square up like this. And my first finger is going to go around the other side of these coins. My thumb can stabilize these as I turn them over. So then I'll clip between my first finger and thumb. My right hand is going to let these coins in downs fall out. They land right here, half overlapping my pinky and ring finger, and half on the pad of the hand there, pad of the palm. The pinky and ring finger are going to clip these coins here. This hand's going to curl in, pulling these silver coins into downs, or as deep as we can get them. Squeeze. Which means you gotta really reach with that thumb to get around those coins. And now we have these coins over by the pinky and ring finger. We're gonna waggle them towards the fingertips here, and then produce, and we can do this little subtlety again. We can then show this hand, show that the coins have jumped across. That is the waggle change transposition. So here's some bonus stuff on the hands-on production. So earlier we talked about this, which can be done with 1 coin, and we could do it as a quick pop. So we can go from here, come over, and have it quickly pop into existence. And this is really simple. The thumb comes over, we do the same thing just like before, but what's going to happen is the main pressure is between the middle finger here and the thumb here. This middle finger is going to slightly come on top of the coin, and this thumb is going to slightly come under as those press. This causes the coin to rotate and land like so. This kind of pops into position. It is done by pressure. The more pressure you have here in doing this, the faster that will produce. That's one way to do this with a single coin. The other is a slow motion one. It looks like so. So we're here, we have it like so. This is fun. It's using a slow motion kind of principle here, of having it appear very slowly. And all we're doing here is this thumb actually comes underneath that coin, so we're not going to pop it this time. And we're going to come over, covering the coin, and this thumb helps lift, pinch, and we get a slow motion production. We'll roll the coin out just as before, but the thumb of the right hand will come under, slightly pinching that edge, and as the middle finger makes a arching upward motion, the thumb of the left hand will lift the coin like so. If the thumb and middle finger are parallel and lift together, then from the front, this coin will appear in slow motion, and this edge will never flash over the top of the middle finger because the middle finger and thumb are at the same height. These are the bonus tips of doing the hands-on production with a single coin. It could be like so with both fingers, just the middle fingers and thumb, or we can even do it slow motion like so. The hands-on production also can be done in that pop way with 3 coins, where we're here, 3 coins, and we produce 3 coins in a fan. We have so much coin appearing at once. It's kind of a nice little thing, and it's literally just as we did with the 1 coin. The spread happens automatically. We pinch, we're just pinching with all the fingers here, but these thumbs more downwards, these more on the top of the coins, so that it flips over like that, and it will just spread on its own. You'll catch them. Your thumbs are near the top of this bottom coin and the bottom of this top coin, and you're here. It's this weird thing. It just works. It looks especially cool too with 3 different colored coins. So you can be here, and you have this nice little production of 3 coins. So this next one is the Ideal Vanish. This is a retention I created inspired by Tony Poy's Perfect Vanish, which is a gorgeous, gorgeous retention vanish. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I think it was one of those beautiful retention vanishes I'd ever seen of 3 coins. I loved it so much. But I wanted to be able to get the coins into Down's palm. I wanted them to be able to go to a different palm. So I came up with this. And it looks like so. We would get here, be able to disappear, vanish, 3 coins. So this is the Ideal Vanish. If you didn't figure that out already, that's a play on words, because it was the perfect vanish, but it wasn't perfect for me. This one was more ideal. I'm sorry. So let's teach the Ideal Vanish. This is a fun vanish, and it uses a major principle from Tony Poy's Perfect Vanish. He was so kind to let me teach this, and it's this principle that I think sells this vanish so well. It sells his vanish and this one, and makes it such a great vanish, which is that the coins are actually placed down. They're actually pushed down like this and go flat with the hand. In most retention vanishes, we never get to that point. It floats in here. We don't get this felt sense of the coin being placed flat onto the hand. And I think that's part of why this vanish looks as good as it does. So we're holding the coins. The thumb and first finger are holding all 3 coins. The thumb is on the edge of the top coin, but it's also on that middle one. And the first finger is pretty much just holding the bottom coin, with the side of the first finger touching the center one as well. So the placing of the coins happens on the palm, right about here, where the fingers would cover. Once again, you want that light that's going to shine you want that to be in a spot that is eventually going to be covered, because that makes sense for why the shine went away. It was in a position where it was covered. If you're up here and the shine is on this part of the palm and you close your fingers, that part's not covered. This won't make sense and it doesn't give the proper retention of vision. So we want down here. We are going to place the coins flat, but our thumb is still on those coins. It's like their edges, like so. So we push, they get flat. As this hand closes, it squares off these coins and we actually make a stack. At the same time, the middle finger reaches forward, contacts this edge, and we are going to do a retention vanish. The middle finger is going to make contact. The thumb is going to pull the stack over the side of that middle finger, and its thumb's going to pull in, and we're going to come away. So from the sign here, we'll go here, the middle finger contacts. We close the stack. Stack gets, very naturally actually, because of these fingers closing, it gets tilted, flipped over onto the side of this middle finger, where it can be pulled directly over to clip. Now it may be a little sloppy when it gets there, maybe like this. That's okay. Very soon after, we're gonna go from clip and curl into downs and continue with the daddy long legs principle. So one other aspect of this retention is the springing action. This is also very similar to Tony Poli's perfect vanish. And when you're here, because you're gripped and you're actually kind of pushing these coins here, when you release, they kind of spring back. So we're not really softening our grip here, we're just putting enough pressure that it appears to go flat, and when we release, it's going to spring back. So it's pushed, flat, square, it's going to spring back and tilt over at the same time due to that middle finger and thumb pushing, and pull into clip position. That is the ideal retention. So in Insights, I taught a drill that involved going from clip to downs, to curl palm, to JW, to thumb palm, back around to downs, and it continues. It was a fidget move to help you develop the necessary sleight of hands and transitions between palms to learn this more advanced stuff. I won't go into that entire thing in great detail, but we will go over a part of it that is more necessary for these routines. So, from the clip position, let's talk about the details of this clip. It's sitting on the middle finger pulling back so that this knuckle actually comes past the first finger a bit, helps these coins get clipped by the first finger. Not much, but enough to hold them stable. If these fingers curl in, so you're curling the base of that first finger, and the thumb stretches out, you can pull these coins into downs. From downs palm, the middle finger can curl over, running along the thumb. Thumb can slowly release because each part of the middle finger is slowly gaining more and more stability here. We can pull the coins into second finger curl palm. We can then do this in reverse, coming in to downs, curling under with all the fingers so that they get clipped between the first finger and middle finger, and extending out. So that is the drill. It's very simple. It's from curl palm to downs to clip, clip to downs to curl palm. Practicing this will help you with a lot of the moves that we go over in these routines. Take a bunch of coins. This is gonna seem ridiculous, but this is like, you guys ever watch Dragon Ball Z? Remember when Goku had like all the weighted clothes, and then he was like super strong because he had the weighted clothes on all the time, and he took them off and he was just like unstoppable? So a great thing to do is to take coins, do the retention, pull it into downs, take a second coin, do the retention, pull it into downs, third coin, do the retention, pull it into downs, and start seeing how much you can do. And this isn't going to look pretty necessarily, especially once you get past 5. Even if you're quite good at this, it'll look kind of sloppy. You may have to readjust too. That's okay. This is just to make it so that when we get to doing 2 or just 3 coins, we are so comfortable. Because this is tough. This gets really uncomfortable. But if you can get a little more comfortable with this, then when you get to doing it with just 2 or 3, it's cake. Let me go here. This is 9. Okay, so 9 coins down. Some of these are just actually kind of sitting on top. So yes. Anyways, this is a drill you can do in practicing this. You can also practice pulling coins out one at a time. The way to do this is by reaching under with your middle finger. You get slight friction. The middle finger can pull one out, balances, and comes to the fingertips. So once again, the middle finger reaches in. It finds the point where when it extends, it's balanced. You can also find this point by placing on the balanced position and pulling in. Then you know the spot you need to be in to pull it out. And then pressing with the thumb to get to the fingertips. So let's go over the drill one more time. We're going to practice doing the retentions into downs. Once again, this edge here pulls back so the coin is lined up directly under the other, and then the middle finger lifts that edge up, passing the little flesh that the thumb had wedged in between there to land flat with the other coin. And we could do this with multiple coins. The other drill is to reach under with the middle finger, get some friction, pulling the coin out to the fingertips. You can drop and do it again. And if you can do this with a bunch of coins, it'll be so much more comfortable when you get to doing it with just 2 or 3. So I highly recommend doing this as a practice drill. This is your weighted close so that when you get down to practicing routines, which is 2, 3, 4 coins in some cases, in downs palm, it'll be so much easier. One more exercise to do with this. Take 2 coins in each hand, put these coins into downs palm, and spend a few hours like this, okay? Then add another one. Spend a few hours like this. Add 2 more, spend a few hours like this. When you get comfortable with coins in downs palm, when you've had them there for long periods of time, you will naturally find the grip that is just loose enough. You would be exhausted if you were clenching these for 4 or 5 hours straight. Your hands would hurt. So very intuitively and naturally, your hands will find what is the most relaxed grip I can hold these without dropping them, because you'll get tired of dropping them and picking them back up. This is the grip you want. It's the grip that you feel comfortable holding it, and yet it's loose. This way your knuckles aren't turning white, you don't look too tense, your grip feels and looks very relaxed and natural, and it allows pulling coins out of stack much easier, because the grip between the thumb and thumb crotch, if we can get a little PG-13 here, the thumb crotch is that the middle finger coming under and pulling that coin out. Because these are holding it looser, that coin can release very easily. If we're clenching this, the friction of this middle finger alone is not going to pull that coin out. We have to have a loose grip so that the middle finger can get enough friction to pull the coin. So that is some drills to practice. These moves are essential in learning good technique into edge grip, downs palm, stack work. Thank you guys again for purchasing this project. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope you take the time to really learn these routines. I use these in my everyday life. They're some of my favorite routines to perform, and they get great reactions. They will take you some time, so please be patient with yourself. Take the time to learn these, do the drills, be meticulous with the drills, and just do the drill over and over and over and over and over again. Don't practice in the context of a routine. Practice the individual moves, put the time in, notice the little details. Be very detail-oriented and specific. Practice slowly, and I promise you will grow and you will learn this stuff. If for any reason there's anything I didn't speak to in this project that you need more details on, please make sure I didn't speak to it already in the project. And if I didn't, then shoot me a message. I'm always happy to help. Also, see my previous projects. Insights especially has a drill for a 1 coin that will help you so much in this project. For those of you who have Insights, who have been doing those drills, I'm sure you'll see how that applies. For those who don't, please go check that out. I also have my other work, Silversmith, and there's plenty more to come. So thank you guys again for your support. It means the world to me, and look forward to seeing more.